Hey guys, KMKanDrum here. It's another lovely day out in suburban Philadelphia, but this time I'm not gonna do my whole video outside. It's about 30 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty freaking cold. My nips here are like little brown icicles. I know that's not a visual you want, but just telling you how it is. Let me pan the camera around so that you can see a wonderful day. I got the pool closed. It goes to show you that it is cold. No more swimming for the rest of the year. But you can see how beautiful it is out here. I mean, it's quite amazing. And then if you haven't seen my video, I think it was the one about reading music. But anyways, I was talking about the highway just on the other side of this fence. I want to see if maybe you could see it. I'm going to put the camera up. I'm not the best videographer. But yeah, you can see my house. It's a pretty cool house. But I'm gonna go back inside now because I am freezing. So let's go inside and let's start this lesson. All right, much better. So let's get this lesson started. This lesson is gonna be what I do to warm up whenever I'm gonna play a gig, or gonna play in the studio, or just warming up for a cover. Now, to be honest, I usually don't warm up when I do a cover. Usually what I'll do before a cover is basically nothing. Just get on the drum set and try to get as many good takes as I possibly can. What you see in my end result, there's a whole huge process that goes on for the drum covers that I do. Playing the cover and recording that when I'm actually recording video and sound at the same time. So rather than just being in the studio and recording something for a band or whatnot, it's weird. It's twice as, I don't want to say difficult, but there's added pressure to get a good take, because not only are you trying to play and sound perfect or as good as possible, but you also have to not look like a moron while you're doing it. So you have a kind of like, it's almost like being on stage playing to an audience. You have to have everything going. So I don't spend hardly any time prepping or warming up. Basically what I'll do is I'll set the cameras up, I'll turn on the mics and the interfaces and just start playing. Usually it takes maybe 4 or 5 takes to get a song down, especially if I know it. If I don't know it, maybe 8 or 9 takes. And then there's the occasional time where it can take 20 or 25 takes, and then even sometimes even more rare, but it does happen, I'll end up just throwing the song out because I don't get a take that I like. So it can take a long time just to get a good take. And then on top of that, you gotta go and edit the whole thing. That's a whole nother video that I'll probably do later on. So when I do covers, I usually don't do any warm-ups just because I don't usually get the take until I'm warmed up anyway. I don't know, maybe I should try warming up. Maybe then I'll get a good take quicker. But I know for sure there's a couple of exercises that I do for both in the studio and going on stage live. And then there's a couple that I do exclusively just for when I play live, because there's more theatrics when you're playing live and you gotta loosen up those muscles, and I'll get to that soon. So there's some stretching involved, and there's also a couple of stick exercises that just get the blood flowing in my hands and in my arms, my legs. Now, here's the thing. Every person is different. Every body is different. I'm somewhat athletic as well. I play ice hockey, so legs have never really been an issue, because in order to play ice hockey, you have to be a really good skater. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel in my body that a lot of the same muscles that I use for hockey, I use for drumming. So my legs have always been pretty strong, so I usually don't have to do too much with regard to warming up the legs, but definitely for the arms and hands and wrists. So I do a lot of stretching just to get everything loose, and some stick exercises just to get the motion going. The first thing I like to do for both stage and studio is I just like to, start with the arms, the shoulders, and just do a little stretch on both sides. You do this sitting or standing up. I'll just stretch the shoulders out, and I'll kind of do this just to get the blood flowing. Nothing special. Do the little circles. You can kind of feel it in the biceps. And then I'll just bring the arms up and stretch out the lats. And yeah, just get the blood flowing. So I'll do these exercises and stretches just to get the arms loosened and everything going. And then what I'll do is I'll take the sticks and I'll hold them like this and I'll bring it through, and that gives a nice stretch in the forearms, shoulders, and a little bit of the biceps and triceps. And basically what it is it just stretches out those wrist muscles and the forearm muscles. Come back out, maybe count to, 10 or 20. Come back, move the hands and the fingers, and then do it again one more time. Try moving your arms around, up and down, and you really feel that stretch. You might even start to tingle a little bit, and come back. And that's a good stretch to get everything loosened up. And the last thing I'll do is I'll just try to stretch out the hands and the fingers. If you're one to crack your knuckles, as I do, usually I try to crack them out before I get into the studio. On stage, it doesn't matter so much, but in the studio, I usually try to crack them out because if I do feel that urge, sometimes they actually do crack while I'm playing, and I don't want that extra sound to get into the mics and whatnot. So just get your hands all the way from your fingertips, all the way to the shoulders, and even down the sides a little bit. Just loosen everything up, and then we're ready for some stick exercises. But before we get to that, I'm going to get into some of the extra stretches that I do for when I'm playing live. I learned this the hard way when I was playing in punk bands and rock bands, and you really just have to get into it, and it's like every show you just put your whole body into this 30 to 40 minutes of playing. And if you don't stretch, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 16, 18, you can be in your 20s, or you can be in your early 40s like I am. It doesn't matter how young or old you are. If you don't stretch, you're going to feel it in the morning, especially for drummers that like to headbang a lot. One time I really just got into it. I was just banging away and didn't stretch before. And the next morning was torture. It was the worst neck pain that I had ever felt. I didn't put two and two together at first. I didn't know that it was because of the show and how hard I was playing. So then we did another show the next weekend, and I had done my normal regular body stretches. And the next morning, I felt okay. So it was only then that I realized that doing the stretches alleviates some of that next day pain that you might get. The most important stretch for me, at least, is to just interlock my fingers, put them behind my head, and stretch out my neck and back. And I'll stretch out going straight down. I'll do this for a 30 count, and then I'll tilt my head to the left and right, and I'll also do a 30 count. And it depends on your body as well. You may need more or less time to really stretch out that neck. And I'll do some of these, and I'll even get up and I'll do a stretch where I'll bend over, and what I'll do is I'll take my hip and I'll try to point it backwards. So my left leg is straight. My right leg, I'm bending at the knee and trying to reach down, and it stretches out the back portion of my left side. And then I'll switch over. I'll try to point this right hip out, straighten out my right leg, bend my left leg, and try to reach for the ground. And that way you're stretching out both sides of your lower back. And that's basically the most important thing, especially when you're headbanging, is keep those back muscles and neck muscles as loose as possible, so that when you're flailing around, those muscles are already loosened up and there's no real chance of them tearing or pulling in a weird way that will cause some pain the next morning. So those are my stretches. I'm feeling pretty good, feeling pretty loose. The blood is flowing. And I'm gonna pick up my sticks, and I have 2 exercises that I want to show you guys. One is to get your mind and your body interconnected and working together. The other one is to just really loosen up the hands. And by the other one, I mean just going through different rolls, different rudiments, and just kind of getting to a point where you feel comfortable in your hands. The first exercise, I picked this up in Modern Drummer a long time ago, and it stuck with me because it's super easy to remember, and it's a challenge in your mind to be able to play this exercise. You can't just feel it, you have to think it, you have to count, and it gets your brain going as well as your motor skills. So basically all it is, it's really simple. You do 8 strokes on the right hand, 8 strokes on the left hand, and then you count down from there. 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then back up. So it's literally So there, that's the whole exercise. It's the entire exercise. And usually what I try to do to change it up is to go through all the different grips. If you haven't checked out my grip video, check that one out. But I'll go through the different match grips, I'll go through the traditional grip, and I'll just get my hands used to all those grips. More than likely I'm going to be using those different grips throughout the session, whether it's the live session or the studio session. And I'll go through different tempos. I'll start slow, I'll get a little bit faster. Usually this kind of exercise you can't get too fast where you're like doing almost roll speed because of the mentality part, the mental aspect of thinking of the counts and whatnot. If you can, that's amazing. I can't. When you start getting to the lower numbers, it gets a little bit harder for my brain to just communicate that to my hands. But if you can go fast, by all means, that'd be amazing. I love to see your guys' videos of doing some super fast speeds on this exercise. But yeah, that's basically what I'll do is I'll just go and I'll speed it up to the fastest I can possibly get. And then, you know, if you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. It's just it's an exercise for your brain. It's an exercise to get you, warmed up and ready for the show. So the second exercise is more just kind of freestyling, but in a controlled way, in a way where I'm paying less attention to what I'm actually playing and more attention to grips and posture and just staying on tempo. So right now I don't have a metronome. I'm gonna just tap my foot, something close to 120, and then just, right here I've got the American grip. Horrible, that was horrible. But I was paying more attention to grip than what I was actually playing, and tempo. And I tried to keep my back as straight as possible. I know in some of my covers, I'm all over the place, I'm slouching, looking certain ways. Those are just my body tics whenever I'm playing. But this exercise is good because it always reminds you of the things that you do wrong and it tries to keep you honest. So whenever I'm playing covers, or whenever I'm playing live especially, this exercise I like to do because it keeps me honest. It makes me, when I'm in the middle of a show and I'm playing, for whatever reason, this exercise will pop up in my muscle memory and I'll straighten up again. I'll make sure my posture is good so that whenever I am doing things that are a little bit unorthodox, having the right posture, you're able to still play decent enough to be able to do a bunch of different theatrics and whatnot, stick flips and stick twirls and all the different tricks that I used to be able to do. For this lesson, it's basically just 2 stick exercises, a bunch of stretches, and that's pretty much all I want to. I don't want this video to be too long, so let me know what you think. Try these out, add them to your repertoire of getting ready to, I don't know what you want to call it, prepping for your performance. So see if they work for you. If not, that's totally fine. If you have some suggestions for me, let me know. But these are the ones that kind of work for me. Again, I'm not the type to spend a lot of time prepping before a performance. Some people need a lot more time. I know a lot of drummers out there have certain body issues like arthritis or tendonitis or whatnot, and you have to go through a lot more in order to get the level of being able to play drums. And I know a lot of you too, in my last lessons, were suggesting things like stick grips and whatnot to help ease some of the finger and joint pains. So yeah, those are things also. I'll probably be buying myself some stick wrap and reviewing that in the coming videos and whatnot. So look out for that. That's my warm-up lesson. Hopefully these tips help you out a little bit. Maybe there are things that you haven't considered or didn't know about, hopefully. And then you can add them to your repertoire. Basically, all I want to do is help you guys out any way I possibly can. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Please like the video, share it if you can, hit the notification bell, all those YouTube things that you do. Check out my website. I got a lot more stuff there, KMKanDrum.com. I've also got a merch store with some pretty cool stuff. And that's basically it. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Talk to you soon.